And now for something completely different.
Hello everyone, the Magi here, and welcome back to the Stronghold. Today I am super excited to be bringing you something completely different as I'm partnering with Mythatom to unbox and deep dive into an assortment of their products. We'll be unboxing it together and then I'll give you my honest thoughts. So let's get into it. They reached out to me on April 20th, and I immediately started doing some due diligence on this organization. And having done so, I would describe them as a purveyor of geek culture with a variety of game accessories, t shirts, and a variety of trinkets ranging from keychains to full fledged ring and necklace jewelry pieces. If you're into geek culture, well beyond Magic the Gathering, your fantasy video games, your fantasy movies, they more than likely have something for you. Or the geek aficionado in your life. In checking them out, not only did I not find any red flags, but overall they looked very good with a favorable return policy, as well as a broad variety of products and a well maintained and built web presence. Perhaps most interesting to the economist in me was the fact that this was a company based in China. And of course, for those that remember, the end of April was at the height of the US Chinese trade tariff debacle that, well, frankly, is still going on to some extent at the time of recording. So when I reached out to them, one of the main questions that I had at that point was how they were dealing with this potential tariff and how they thought that was going to impact their business, particularly with US-based customers. They were very candid in their response that unfortunately rising costs across the board have made shipping fee increases unavoidable. However, they went on to explain that they had proactively switched logistics providers to help mitigate this issue for their customers, i.e. me and you. Ultimately, questions were answered, terms were reached, and, well, I've got a package here. What do you say we get this box opening and evaluation underway?
Alright, that's looking good. Let's get this out onto a tray. Nice.
I really believe you can tell a lot about a manufacturer and distributor by the quality of their t-shirts. So one of the very first things that I selected was this adorable Magic the Gathering themed t-shirt featuring Gingy and who I lovingly refer to as Mrs. Gingy. For those that were around for the Eldraine series, these should be very familiar characters. Ultimately, I found that the cotton cloth quality was very good. In fact, both myself and the other person that was working with me commented on how much heavier and sturdier this material felt compared to an average t-shirt here in the US. The graphics were laid onto the t-shirt in high quality materials, showing little to no flaws, and I found that even the t-shirt washed well and continued to look good after a first washing. Now, I did happen to notice while browsing the t-shirt selection that a number of the pattern, color, and size combinations, while listed, were not currently available, which honestly felt a little odd in today's print-on-demand environment for this kind of products. As a Magic the Gathering player, how could I in good conscience evaluate this organization and their products without taking a look at their game accessories? And ultimately, I selected a deck box. But they also offered a number of card binders, sleeves, counters, and tokens, deck boxes, what they refer to as brick cases, more elaborate deck boxes, if you would. And of course, a variety of inner and outer shells for multi-sleeving technologies, as well as play mats and, to some degrees, proxies. This fancy little deck box is not only made of beautiful and sturdy materials, it has plenty of room for either a 60, 75, or 100 card variety deck, complete with sleeves. It also comes with 2 dividers for things like your sideboards or your tokens or whatnot. It has a separate section for things like tokens or perhaps basic lands for the more dedicated limited player. And all in all, I found it to be a very nice piece. And in fact, I recently saw a similar product at my friendly local game store at more than twice the retail price. So a bargain apparently to boot. This deck box also includes a small self-sealing enclosure for things like dice or those little glass beads that so many of us gamers use. And don't they look delicious? Don't eat them though, that's very bad. And in fact, the self-closing magnetic sealer on this subset was so strong that I could not properly prop it open to include it in the video clip, so we just have to get by with this little snapshot of it with my finger delicately holding it open just out of frame. Lastly, I really wanted to sample something from what I refer to as their trinkets, because it does really seem like a core part of their business offerings. Alas, due to some ongoing supply issues, they really wanted to reserve those items for their customer base, and I fully understood, and ultimately their suggestion went a different direction. And that direction, of course, was more game materials, where I went with this Did You Have Fun in This Match playmat, which, let me tell you, as a primarily arena player, hits me right in the feels. Very much like the other products that I reviewed for Mythatom, this playmat appears to be made of high quality materials and high quality printing on them. And well, after extensive testing, it does in fact hold cards. In the interest of total transparency, I will say that while I really enjoy these products and this looks to be a great company, not everything went as smoothly as I would have liked. For instance, some of the communications were a little rough. One, and primarily because I think we were communicating directly through email as opposed to their usual customer channels. And in some instances, I think things literally got lost in translation. I also never received any sort of tracking confirmation or anything like that on the package, even though I had specifically requested it. And my package appears to have shipped on May 22nd and arrived on June 20th. Almost a full month, but let's keep in mind this was coming from the literal other side of the world during a time where trade between our respective countries is, well, a little taxed. Honestly, the only reason I bring up the longer shipping profile is because part of the return policy states that if 30 days have passed since your purchase, we can't offer you a full refund or exchange. And well, I barely had the product in my hand before 30 days expired. Based on my overall dealings with the organization, I personally would be very surprised if they weren't willing to work with you to come to some sort of arrangement despite the actual rule of the policy, but that was not specifically discussed or confirmed. That's just my feeling based on other interaction. Now, with all that having been said, I would definitely suggest that you check them out for yourself. At the time of recording, they are offering free shipping on purchases over $35, as well as 20% off your first order. And rather than negotiating any sort of fee for myself, what I asked for was a discount code that my viewers could always use, so that you can continue to get 10% off any future subsequent purchases just by entering the code the Magi Stronghold at checkout. And of course, there is a referral link down in the doobly-doo, aka the description. And of course, be sure to share your findings with the community in the comments, because we are all stronger together.